My name is Mette, and I have a company called MiMe, so it basically mimes you. I'm also the facilitator of an online meetup with holistic primary care, where we basically try to pair holistic medicine with technology. And we do this for essentially other integrative doctors like yourself. So people are tracking. People have Fitbits, they measure their heart rate, their steps, their caloric intake. What I'm thinking is that a lot of these good measures that people are doing out on the roads are not being brought into the offices. The minute they arrive at the doctor's office, they expect the doctor to fix them. So some of this engagement that people have on the road, where they do track their performances, should be taken into the doctor's practice and enable you to take a real look at what's going on and create data that is meaningful for you to use as physicians. So the Doctor Fix Me setup. When you arrive at the doctor's office with a lifestyle disease, having an expectation of the doctor fixing you, you already have a problem. I feel it's important that the doctor has a window into what goes on between those doctor's visits. And this is a really important task. Like James was saying, looking at food allows you to do something very different. So we've created an app or a platform that allows people to have this look into the data. One of the things that we see is that active tracking is very different. So we have all these variables, and it's essentially passively tracking what people are doing when they're on the road and so on. What we do is significantly different in the sense it's called active tracking. So it's self-reporting. It's what I refer to as pay attention technology. Paying attention to what you do is where I feel the behavior change really happens. Imagine snapping a picture of your food, just having to take up your phone and look at what you're doing as you go along with your day. Or have your doctor ask you to mark gluten intake or something else will really alter your behavior as you go through the day. One of the things that we see is being very specific makes a huge difference. You have to look at correlations. I think you said the causalities of having that bagel, but you really have to look at something that's very specific to the individual. So let's say you have a MS patient. This patient is talking about pain throughout the day, and it's a little unclear what's actually going on. But through a conversation, you'll get to a point where it becomes painfully clear what is the difference between a good day and a bad day. It might be 2 sets of clothing put out the night before, one that would be the favorite set to wear, and the other one that she'd be able to wear in case she's too weak to actually button up or tie her laces. Just knowing whether she's wearing the number 1 or the number 2 of her favorite outfits is enough for you to know where is she approximately, and then look at diet and correlation to that. So this was supposed to be a Philly cheesesteak. The reason that I put it up there is that when you're looking at root causes, a lot of times it's really all about dynamics. It's here we're looking at it and we're like, oh, disgusting. If people eat hundreds of those, it's clear. But sometimes you have clients where you're looking at their data and it's not really making sense. In this case, it was a lupus patient who had a lot of pain, a lot of different symptoms. And when you asked her to a bowel movement, it was perfect, like most people's are, until it's not. And in her case, tracking her bowel movements resulted in this Philly cheesesteak being, almost highlighted. And she says, oh yeah, when I have one of those, it's kind of awkward because it's like I lie on the floor for 5 minutes paralyzed in what I call a debilitating pain. And then I get almost like an explosive diarrhea. And you're thinking to yourself, 2 minutes ago, this person had never had anything but normal bowel movement, until she sees her own Philly cheesesteak and remembers, oh, yeah, there was a little bit of a correlation there. So it's really about looking at these changes. So going from the Philly cheesesteak to the sunflower seeds, you might think, so what's going on here? But this was a girl, 20-something-year-old law student, whose father thought he would do her well by paying for a personal trainer. She was a yoga girl who had never really been doing physical strength at that level and felt fatigued. Told her trainer, who said, it's just because you're not getting enough protein. The vegetarian diet that you're on is just not doing anything good. So paleo diet it's good for everyone. And she felt weird, but she continued going for a few months until her system couldn't really do it anymore. And then she started doing different things. When I saw her, she had spent a year and a half trying to figure out why she had digestive issues, abdominal pain, and anxiety eating, plus no social life as a result of her digestive system being completely out of whack. And when you look back at her history, it was clear that there had been no problems before introducing the paleo diet. So we looked at different elements, took the gluten out, and it helped, but didn't really take away the root cause. So then we started looking at the correlation between bowel movements and what else was going on in her life, and two things stuck out: buckwheat and sunflower seeds. Whenever she had sunflower seeds, she wouldn't go that day, and the following 2 days she'd be constipated. Whenever she had buckwheat, it would result in immediately tight stomach and anxiety-driven behavior. So when I said to her, so is it a problem for you? And she goes, oh no, before I changed my diet for the healthy diet, I'd never had any of those things. So it sounds so easy afterwards when you see the direct correlations in the data, but she would never have thought that it was the sunflower seeds and buckwheat that took her over the edge. She would definitely have found something less healthy looking. So yeah, we are New Yorkers, so probably should have said mind the gap. That's at least what we hear all the time. But what we try and do is fill the gap. We fill the gap between what you as practitioners are doing and seeing every day through the testing and so on to what people are doing in their everyday life. Basically filling out the lifestyle gap, helping people make the correlations and see what is actually going on a detailed level. So functional doctors in general are taking more tests. They're looking more at what's going on, and you might be able to figure out what's not working or what's wrong, but a lot of times having a window into the lifestyle aspect will actually identify the root cause for you, enable you to move on. So what we are providing here is actually a tool that it's an addition to all the existing things that people are doing in functional medicine.
Awesome. Can we have a quick round of applause? But I want to ask you a couple of questions, Mette. So I'm going to come up and stand here with you. So I obviously tried this before I put Mette on. I did my, for a little while here, and I have to say, so it was really cool because I was put on. I had to take a picture of all my food, and on the first day, I completely forgot to do it. And Mette, sent me a very nice text message, just being like, "Hey, have you not eaten today?" And and right away, like it was that. And I just wanted to say that because it's interesting how like no data is really data. That's a really powerful data point when you're getting no data because it tells you something about the sort of the mindset of the patient. I think that's a sort of something that you can't get even in an hour and a half consult. You don't know what they're going to do when they leave the office.
But it's true. So one of the doctors from the holistic sessions had a client come in with the perfect diet. You're looking at it and it's perfect. And she goes, well, this client has, cholesterol of 290. Like there must be something going on. Do you think maybe more greens? Like what should we do? It's like, just ask what's not here. Because it's simply not possible that this diet made that happen. And when asked, the patient said, well, up until I started tracking, I was on my holiday diet, which basically meant from Thanksgiving till the end of January, she had been on what she considered a very, very bad diet. And no wonder her cholesterol was what. But once you asked her to track, it was easy to come back with a compliance.
Yeah, I just think the real-time aspect of it, you send a patient out, you can see what's happening, the next day and right then, I think is just really powerful. There are apps that do this like MyFitnessPal, but this is uniquely for the practitioner community where you actually, as the practitioner, get all of that data first, and I think it's been really valuable. I think that if patient compliance is sort of like the root cause of a lot of different things, this is a great tool for it. So actually, one last thing before you go, Mette. I know you're going to be on the panel and you had your one clinical tip, and I thought you shared it with me earlier. I thought it was quite profound, so maybe you'd like to share it with the audience.
So I think that unless you have proved the opposite, then any behavior, no matter how detrimental it is, always has a rationale governing it. An example is a girl in the Bronx whose doctor had told her that it looks like you have water retention. And by the time that I saw her, she had not had water for a little over a year. She had put two and two together. If I have a problem with water retention, boom, solved. But, being a lupus patient on 80 milligrams of prednisone a day, it really wasn't the best solution. So a lot of times talking to people and seeing the images coming in really allows you to see what is the rationale that's governing here. Because people have ideas and they read up on things, but when they piece all of those things together, it might not actually be beneficial to them in the end.
Awesome. Another round of applause for Mette. Here, let me take this clicker out. You can just have a seat. Thanks so much for watching, and for more great clips like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've created a special free video just for you called Harnessing the Power of Community in Your Practice, and it'll give you a clinical model, practical tools that double as marketing, and strategies to develop a community of your peers. All you have to do is click on the link below.